Not many combines moving right now because of snow and wet weather, but a lot of them have been moving. Let's talk to Brad Matson, who is the technology manager with Allied Cooperative, leading that agronomy department and other areas there with Allied. And Brad, before the combines got stopped by Mother Nature here for the next maybe day or two or three or four, whatever, you saw some pretty good yields out there, or did you see some challenging yields? What have you seen so far?
Well, that's exactly it, Bob. It's variability is the key word of this fall. Depending on whatever factors you are, we've seen some phenomenal yields, and we've seen some very bad yields. So,
any trends you've seen there, as far as heavy ground, lighter ground, hilly ground, irrigated ground? What have been the variables?
well, definitely water played a big portion into it, where you had a little better water holding capacity. Yields are doing phenomenally well. Irrigated ground is doing phenomenally well. We had a lot of sunlight this year, so that really stoked the fuel for these plants. If you had water and they had the other nutrients, I've seen some of the highest yields we've seen in years, in a year that just makes your head scratch. That's the big thing to ask yourself this year is why. Because what variable is causing that? Because you can see in some fields you're going to do well over 200 bushels, and some will be closer to 100 bushels. Is it just a soil type? Is it fertility? Is it variety? Those types of things. That's what we're busy at looking at right now is what is causing the variability, because this is going to be I look at this as a fantastic year as far as analyzing some of the holes in some of your fields or farms and those types of things. And could it be fertility? Could it be the variety you chose? Could it be root depth? All those things. There's so many factors going into it, and it gives us an opportunity to really try to figure out the reason why and help you move your yields to a higher level in the future or weatherproof it even better in the future.
Are you going to have all this figured out by next spring when it comes to be planting time again? Because you just talked about a lot of things to try and figure out.
It's a lot of stuff, and we have software programs that help us analyze some of these things, and but it's really easy in this industry to it was too hot, too wet, too dry, those types of things. But you really you can never fix a problem until you know what the problem is. With the tools that we have available, with the training the agronomists have, those types of things, we're better apt to help you figure out what is the why behind it. Doing that, that's going to help you leapfrog your yields and weatherproof this crop in coming years.
Does that also help make suggestions for variety selection? Because, some of these places where we saw some of these fantastic yields, genetics and seed improvement has been phenomenal, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And, you've got these varieties that perform really well when it's optimal, but in the same field, they just fell apart. So do you really want to go with that type of a racehorse variety or look at a more defensive variety that's going to give you a higher overall average through the whole field? And so, again, is it just a variety or is it something else that caused that? So that's why you have to determine that, because you could be making, I'm going to just switch varieties because, I hit 270 bushels on part of the field, but 125 on the other part. But is it the variety, or is it something in that soil? Are you lower on potash in that area? Are you, that's where this accurate soil testing becomes really important, and finding out really what is the culprit, or is it a multitude of culprits? It's usually never one thing. It's always two or three things to combine together that gives you something between a success and a train wreck.
And I talked to a farmer the other day. He was on the combine. I stopped and visited him. And he said, on some of the sandy ground, he says, one of the things we did this year, we put a root enhancer on a corn. He said, you can't believe how that enhanced the roots. And really, he thought that made a big difference as far as being able to get some good yields on some drier ground.
Yeah, I've had another customer have the same kind of experience on some very light ground, minimal rain, and seen some of his best yields ever. And that was one of the things they added this year. And if you think about it, if you don't have that root going out there and extracting and moving through that soil, extracting the nutrients, extracting the water, you're always putting yourself behind. So we're always digging up plants, looking at that root system, making sure that is going as deep as we can and carrying out as far as we can, because that is really key.
There's no question about it. And the harvest is not over yet.
We've got a little ways to go. We've probably still got a fair amount of soybeans to try to sneak off here. Mother Nature will cooperate and give us a few nice days, and quite a bit of corn, but the corn's really been coming off fast in the last 4 or 5 days.
It certainly has. A little slow down now with the snow, but it'll get back to it. We got good weather our way. Brad, thanks for the update this morning.
You betcha. So don't eat too much of your candy now that you got the other night.
We'll try not to. Brad Mattson, who is the technology manager with Allied Cooperative. I'm Bob Bosold.